land was made for you and me. Yes, I've been walking that ribbon of highway, and so above me, that endless skyway, I saw below me the golden budget. This land was made for you and me. I ramble and follow my footsteps to the sparkling sounds of her diamond desert. All around me, a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. ¿De quién es este mundo? No es suyo, tampoco es mío. Del mar hasta río somos los niños de Tonalcín. Pachamama nos da la land of the free. Home de valientes, pueblos indígenas, los originarios residentes. Y para siempre los herederos, mayas, teca, pescador y jornaleros. Y no dividieron la tierra miles de años sin la frontera. Cali para New York State, ni barrera. Nahua o Lenape, mi América lleva acento en la E. We've been here, you white supremacists, can I say? Land of MLK, Fannie Lou and Chavez, not Volcano, Arpaio o George Wallace. Quieren colonizar la gente, por más que trate el pueblo está presente. Dientes velados, puro alarde, nuestro coraje los hace cobardes. Mira que arde el barrio, nuevas huertas, Cáceres, Bowens y Bolivarios. Es respetando con miedo, sin miedo, liberando, sin odio.
Can we move it like a foot away?
Yeah, if you're close, like this close as possible. I just,
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Good morning. Buenos dias. Good morning. All right. We're going to get started. If you are one of our speakers, please make your way to the front. Can we have everyone? All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Edwin Torres de Santiago. I was born in El Salvador, and for 25 years of my life, I was a formerly undocumented immigrant DACA recipient as of last year. I'm here to represent the Immigrant Defense Network. I have the privilege and honor to serve as their network manager. The Immigrant Defense Network got started about a year from this month, which brings over 100 organizations together to put the line and defend and protect our communities, but drive forward for meaningful change. I am so proud of everyone standing in unity with our communities today. This could have been my dad, my brother, my mom. You're going to hear today from speakers directly who were on the scene and others who are here to share their support and to counter this narrative. With that, we're going to get started with Ryan Perez, the organizing director of Copal, who's going to give us an overview of what happened yesterday. And then I'm going to serve as the MC, and thank you all for being here.
Good morning, buenos dias.
Good morning.
Yesterday, just before 9 a.m., we began receiving reports of federal agencies preparing an operation out of Newell Park, staging an operation. As we follow our protocol, which is to deploy constitutional observers who peacefully and legally document law enforcement for the protection of civil rights and civil liberties. Brave of the observer that I called and responded within 12 minutes of receiving that report, and the many others who began documenting at Newell Park, as well as the second location, the location of the operation where we stand here today. As folks began gathering and agencies were on the scene, we needed to identify, as always, who's actually here in our community of St. Paul. I went to McAllister College. I lived downtown St. Paul. I worked many years on the west side of St. Paul. This is my home. And when we got that news, the immediate reaction is, who's even there? Because people start shouting, it's ICE, it's police, it's FBI. And it's intentionally very confusing. And it's confusing in part because all of these agencies are deputized to do the work of ICE. But we had brave observers who captured photographs of ICE in uniform on the scene. I want to mention two other brave people, a St. Paul dad and his brother, who would move heaven and earth to put dinner on the table for their families, who were forcefully zip-tied and removed from this premises. There were many brave observers on the scene. I had a person peacefully documenting and recording who texted me and said, it's not fun to get hit with pepper spray. I learned what it's like to get tear gassed. Folks that were there peacefully documenting that were forcefully assaulted and shoved by officers who were physically injured. And I need to mention to you a really brave person I got to know yesterday. A St. Paul youth who called me. How brave to make that phone call. She made that call to my personal number. I'm a stranger to her. She doesn't know me. But she received my contact from one of our constitutional observers. And she called me and she said, that was my dad and that was my uncle.
We stand with families.
We stand with families. And she was brave enough to put that trust in our hands, and we were able to connect her with our legal supports and our legal partners. And we thank you to those, you know who you are, who are in this group today. But I appreciate the bravery of all of you who showed up this morning. Luckily, it's a warmer morning. We've had a lot of actions in February and January that are freezing cold. But to be here, and to be here in support of constitutional rights and civil liberties, and to be here to stand with our families and to stand with peaceful demonstrators. So thank you again for being here, and I'll pass the mic to Edwin.
Thank you, Ryan. Next, we'll hear from Marco Hernandez, a statement from the Attorney General, Keith Ellison.
Thank you, Edwin. Buenos dias. Good morning. My name is Marco Hernandez, and I stand before you not just as the outreach coordinator for the Office of the Minnesota Attorney General, but as a neighbor, a son of immigrants, and a witness to the fear that has gripped our community. Attorney General Ellison wishes he could be here, but he is traveling as he continues the fight for the rule of law. Here in St. Paul and across Minnesota, we love and respect our neighbors regardless of status. Sadly, it's clear that this administration doesn't feel the same way. The conduct we've seen around the country has been disturbing. Masked ICE agents have been tearing families apart and terrorizing communities. We watched federal agents use Black Hawk military helicopter to raid a residential building in Chicago. Here in Minnesota, over 200 people have been detained outside the immigration court at Fort Snelling this year. People making use of one of their very few legal pathways that people have to acquire status. Only to be arrested by ICE when their cases are prematurely canceled and they walk out of their courtroom. And just last week in Northfield, ICE agents arrested a father in front of his teenage son, dragging him from his car in a quiet street. And now, this shame, definitely. And now this terror has found St. Paul. The Attorney General's office support legitimate law enforcement actions where people are suspected of serious crimes. The data shows, unfortunately, that ICE has moved far beyond the point where we can trust their actions. Of the 607 people detained by ICE in Chicago, only 16 have been identified as a high public safety risk due to their criminal histories. These actions are tearing apart the fragile trust we've worked so hard to build between immigrant families and local institutions. They are making parents afraid to take their children to school and extracurricular activities. They are making workers afraid to show up to their jobs. They are making entire communities feel like criminals for simply existing. This is not who we are in St. Paul or in Minnesota. We are a city and a state where our diversity is our strength and not a threat. To the city of St. Paul and the St. Paul Police Department, we commend you for upholding the separation ordinance and not spending city resources towards immigration enforcement. And to those who come into our city and state masked and armed, treating homes like battlegrounds, we say this: you may have power, but we have people, and people will always rise, and the Attorney General's office will do everything in its power to stand up for the Constitution, due process, and for the people of Minnesota. And to our neighbors, do not let fear silence you. Stand up, speak out, know your rights, protest peacefully, show up for one another. They want us to turn on one another to commit acts of violence so they can come here in greater force, but we need to turn towards one another because, and this is something Donald Trump will never understand, we are strongest when we stand together.
Test. All right, we're cooking. Next, we have our St. Paul Mayor-elect, Kelly Herr.
Nashon, it's hard for me to stand in front of you here because I think that I'm standing here as a mayor-elect or a previous state representative, but I do not. I stand here in front of you as a refugee who came to this country, as somebody who has stood up to defend our undocumented communities and received huge backlash for wanting to make sure that they had the health care that they deserved. And now to sit here as the mayor-elect and watch this happen and unfold in our city, I want you all to know that I am standing with you, not as somebody who is in government, but as somebody who is from an impacted community, who has watched people from my own community who are American citizens get detained by ICE and held for days until they could prove that they were American citizens. When that happens to our communities, it is not just that they were detained and released, that they lose jobs from not being able to go to them, that their families that relied on them cannot, the children who needed their parents to be there to give them transportation to school do not have them, that there are huge ripple effects to what happens when our families are targeted in this way. Yesterday, as this was all happening, I was with all of you. I was trying to also find out what was happening because I do not get advance notice as to what is happening. And so I want you to be assured that I was in close communication with our law enforcement, our SPPD, to try to figure out what was happening and unfolding on the ground as well. Everyone deserves to feel safe where they live, and there are real national security threats that the federal administration is responsible for addressing. but flooding our neighborhoods with ICE and other federal agents only heightens tensions on the ground rather than calming it. We need clear, timely information from federal agencies so that the panic doesn't take over and rumors don't spread. When communities are kept in the dark, fear fills the gaps and the uncertainty ripples across our city. And this fear is real because we have seen what has happened. Our communities torn apart. They are feeding into that. We must not let that happen. You know, we federal agents were wearing gears labeled as police, which is not standard issue for our St. Paul Police Department. And they were not involved in any way in this enforcement action. SPPD works hard to keep our communities safe. When federal agents mislabel themselves, it creates confusion, undermines trust, and raises fundamental questions about who those officers really are. That was one of the first things when I saw police written on these uniforms. I knew that those were not SPPDs, but our community doesn't know that. And we need to continue to have trust with our law enforcement entities. We cannot let them create confusion for all of us. Any federal agent operating in our city should be clearly identified both by name and agency. Misusing the police label is misleading and unacceptable. And what happened yesterday, the violence, the confusion, and the lack of communication, the federal administration benefits when we are confused, divided, and unsure of what actually is happening on our streets. This is exactly the kind of situation where a rapid response communication system could have helped. There is much we need to do in our city in creating this network and this infrastructure. And I'm so thankful for Edwin and all of the partners in the Immigration Defense Network. I want to thank the groups that are sponsoring. That's okay.
Keep going.
I want to just thank the groups that were here and were helping out and on the ground. Because of what you did, our community is safer and better. I am committed to working with our groups and to ensure that we are able to deploy people with the resources that they need in order to be good constitutional observers. And so know that I stand with you. I am with you, not as a mayor-elect of this city, but as an immigrant, as a refugee, as a community that has been impacted by this.
When I say people, you say power. People. Power. People. Power. People. Power. People. Power. People. Power. People. Power. Power. All right. I'm going to keep going. Up next, we have St. Paul Council Vice President Kim.
No, it's all good. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. We're fired up and ready to go. My name is John Kim. I'm the Vice President of the St. Paul City Council, and my pronouns are she, her. Thank you all for being here today. I also have a special message. There's some of our Senate colleagues in the House. I see Senator Zainab Mohammed. I know that some of our Senate DFL caucus members that represent St. Paul, they are with us and they support us and they are here with us in spirit today. Yesterday, immigrant workers were taken from their jobs, separated from their families, and loaded into unmarked vans. Yesterday, peaceful constitutional observers and community members documenting the incident were met with violence. We are here today to publicly condemn all violence against immigrant workers and our brave, peaceful observers. Federal agents use chemical irritants, physical force, even their vehicles, against our community members just utilizing their rights. Concerned and caring residents were shoved, thrown to the ground. One observer's foot was run over. This is not safety. This is not law enforcement. This is state violence. As the Vice President of the St. Paul City Council, I am so proud of the vast and responsive volunteer constitutional observer network. I am grateful to the Immigrant Defense Network, Copal, Minnesota, MN8, the ACLU, to help drive the immigration work here in St. Paul. After the roofer raid in my ward in the North End, we teamed up and trained more than 80 members of our community to become constitutional observers. In a few moments, I'll have to head downtown to fill my role as the budget chair. Today, we are hearing amendments. And in partnership with Councilmember Yang in Councilmember Coleman's office, we'll bring forward an amendment that we've been working on for weeks, restoring funds that ensures our commitment to our communities. We're going to fund our naturalization support and our immigration defense fund. In our communities, we deserve safety, dignity, and the freedom to work and live and breathe without fear, and we will not back down. Our immigrant communities need brave and swift policy change. They need every single person to engage in activism, get trained, and activate a friend. I want to be very clear, this isn't about the electeds. This is about the families being violently ripped apart. This is about everyday people choosing bravery over fear and paralysis. This is about you and what you choose to do in this moment. So link up, get loud, stay in a crowd, and power to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Madeline from the Advocates for Human Rights.
Thank you. I'm with the Advocates for Human Rights, and I am proud to be here today to stand in defense of the values that are core to us as Minnesotans: safe, vibrant communities, neighbors treated with respect and dignity, and governments that uphold and protect our human rights. Yesterday, we saw the full cost and the harm inflicted by unrestrained, weaponized immigration enforcement. Our community, our friends and neighbors, our very sense of safety were attacked. When every federal law enforcement agent is directed to detain and deport ordinary Minnesotans who are just trying to live and work, all the things that are supposed to be protecting us, keeping us safe, are instead undermining that safety. In addition to the impact on our safety, the actions of federal law enforcement agencies are in direct conflict with international best practices. The UN has a code of conduct for law enforcement officers. And in it, it says that they are supposed to respect and protect human dignity and maintain and uphold the human rights of all persons, especially people exercising their freedom of speech and assembly. That is not what we are seeing here. The UN also sets out standards for police accountability and identifies transparency as the heart of that accountability. Masking your face, refusing to show your ID or give your name, those undermine transparency and accountability at every step. We do not want to live in communities where public safety has been thrown away in order to terrorize our immigrant neighbors. We need lawmakers to defend Minnesota's communities, limit masking, require agency IDs for law enforcement agents, protect and defend those who are exercising their constitutional rights, and reaffirm that no one is above the law. I know that our community is going to stand together because we know that no one is safe until everyone is safe.
Thank you. Now we have Zainab Jama from Ayala Leads.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Zainab, and I'm here with Ayala Leads and as part of the Immigrant Defense Network. I stand before you not only as an advocate, but as an immigrant myself, as someone whose life has shaped by the courage and sacrifice of people who came to this country searching for safety, dignity, and a better future. Yesterday, that dignity was violated. What happened here at protest was not a law enforcement. It was not safety. It was a violence that was directed at working people, our immigrant families, and peaceful observers who were simply exercising their right to witness what was happening to their communities. Workers were taken from their job, families were left terrified, and community members were pepper sprayed, shocked, and harmed for standing up with their neighbors. This is unacceptable. Not yesterday, not today, and not ever. As Minnesotans, we know that immigrant workers are the backbones of our communities. They keep businesses running, support their families, and strengthen our state every single day. They deserve dignity, not militarized aid, not chemical agents, and not a fear. For me, this is personal. My parents came to Minnesota believing in the promise of safety and belongings. That promise was broken yesterday. And if it can be broken for one family, it can be broken for any family in the state. This is why we're here today. At Ayatollah, we work to build a political power of the African diaspora and immigrant communities, because our communities deserve more than just survival. We deserve safety, respect, and freedom to live without a fear. At the Immigrant Defense Network, we mobilize because no one should face these moments alone. Today's vigil is about honoring the workers who were taken. It's about holding space for families who are afraid. It's about standing with peaceful observers who were harmed for telling the truth. It's about sending a message that Minnesota will not tolerate violent raid or abuse of power on our communities. Minnesota is not a battleground for political theater. Our communities are not targets. Our people are not disposable. We demand transparency, we demand accountability, and we demand that every workers that were taken yesterday is returned safely to their family. But above all, we demand dignity for all of us without exception. So today, we're here united with elected members, community members, and advocates to say, we will not back down. We'll protect one another, we'll fight for one another, and we'll meet fear with courage. And we're not going anywhere. Thank you all.
Up next, we have Deepinder Mayal from the American Civil Liberties Union.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Deepinder Mayal, he, him. I'm the executive director of the ACLU of Minnesota. Thank you. Thank you. And I know there are a lot of speakers here, and we've heard a lot, and I can tell you this. We know that something is going on in this country and that there is a democratic backslide of our constitutional values. We know it, we see it, we know it when we see military in our streets, we know it when we see censorship of the press, we know it when we see mass agents in our communities, and we know it when we see our neighbors taken away, sometimes held illegally, deported without due process. We know it and we see it. And I will be brief because I have a clear message. It does not matter what uniform you wear, whether you are masked, whether you are with ICE or with HSI, you are bound by the United States Constitution and the Constitution of Minnesota. Every person that you encounter, every person has rights. We have the right to free speech. We have the right to assemble. We have the right to due process, and we have the right to be free from excessive force. And I will tell you that the ACLU and we the people intend to hold you accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. The people united will never be defeated. The people
united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Up next, we have Maria Castro from Popular Democracy.
My name is Maria Castro. I serve as an organizing director at Popular Democracy in Action. We are the largest network of grassroots power building organizations in this nation. Today, I'm here outraged because of what happened yesterday. But I'm also here for the deep love of community. The coordinated raid carried out against immigrants yesterday is no other than political violence. It is political violence that is carried out by this administration. In democracy, people should be able to live, work, raise children, and participate in civic life without a threat of state-sanctioned violence. Democracy is our right. And our rights are being threatened, and we have a responsibility to defend them. In moments like these, we remember the true words that have been passed down. Solo el pueblo salva el pueblo. Only the people save the people. That means that us here, Now, we must organize, not as isolated groups, but as a broad, united alliance to defend our rights, reaching across the state and across the country. We must guard our democracy with power of collective action, our solidarity, and refusal to be divided or intimidated. I am calling on each and every one of you looking at us from home to join a local grassroots organization like Copal, like New Justice Project, and so many others here, so that we can continue to build an infrastructure of community defense and long-term power. This is our moment to step up and to step in alongside each other. We must not allow this political violence to determine our future. We must not allow fear to dictate our lives. We will not allow democracy to be dismantled. We will organize, we will defend each other, and we will win. ¿Se puede?
Sí se puede.
¿Se puede?
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
I want to do a quick thank you to the nearly over 200 of you this morning. So thank you for being here bright and early. And we're going to keep going. We're almost done, but we won't. Up next, I want to make sure that we keep on track. Senator Zaina Mohammed.
The people, united, will never be defeated. The people, united, will never be defeated. The people, united, will never be defeated. Will never be defeated. Thank you, everybody. I am Zainab Mohammed. It is an honor to join all of you this morning. And thank you for showing up 9 in the morning. This is what it looks like to be in community. And it's powerful. What we witnessed here yesterday is what an authoritarian government looks like. We are in the midst of a political revolution to take back our country, to take back the rule of law in our country. So thank you for standing in that fight and for being here. Let me be very clear, and you'll see a lot of signs, and I think this is what the cameras are going to point out. The signs that people have is what our values show. The IC's color, not the Constitution. Stand with our families. Immigrant Defense Network. Stop kidnapping our neighbors. Using military on civilians is fascism. Stop the cruelty. Immigrants make America great. Immigrants make America great. Immigrants are not a threat to our neighbors. The only threat here is the violent overreach of federal agents acting like unchecked thugs in our communities. Thugs. And in Minnesota, we do not cower in the face of intimidation. We stand with our immigrant workers, our families, and their neighbors. We will protect our own. We will stand strong. We will not allow fear to become a tool of governance. We will not allow fear to become a tool of governance. Thank you for being here.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
That's right. Dulce Guzman from Alianza Americas.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today this morning. My name is Dulce Guzman. I'm the Executive Director of Alianza Americas. And today I am here from Chicago to stand in solidarity with the St. Paul community and the Immigrant Defense Network. Let's acknowledge, this is not an isolated incident. Yesterday, federal agents detained our neighbors and deployed tear gas at community members who were exercising their constitutional right to peacefully assemble and document the violation of our rights. This violence is unacceptable, but we must be clear, it is not new. The authoritarian regime is trying to turn our government into a weapon against its own people, abducting neighbors and terrorizing working families. What was witnessed yesterday echoes what we have seen in Georgia, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in Oregon, and now beginning in North Carolina. These are not random or spontaneous actions. They are part of a very intentional and carefully designed federal strategy, one that involves entering our cities and taking our neighbors without notice to local officials, ignoring community leaders, and relying on fear as a tool of control. The goal is very simple. Make an example of immigrants to scare us all into silence. But there is one thing our communities have shown again and again. It is that we do not scare easily. In St. Paul, people, constitutional observers, showed up immediately. They showed they are trained, they are disciplined, they are ready, and they protected their people. They demanded answers, just like they did in LA, just like we did in Chicago, and just like thousands of other people are doing across the country. Immigrants and allies continue to put their bodies on the line to defend the dignity and the rights of their neighbors and ensure we keep our families together. And to close, I want to affirm something very clearly today. Our presence, you being here, it all matters. The peaceful protests matter. The videos, the live streams, the testimonies, they all matter. Every act of witness and every act of solidarity becomes part of the historical record of what happened here. It makes it harder for those in power to deny the truth, and it brings us one step closer to justice. Because there will come a day, and that day is getting very close, where these people will have to be held accountable for their actions. Not by rumor, not by emotion, but by evidence, by community testimony, and by the truth of all that of the truth that you continue to protect. To the people of St. Paul, you are not alone. From Chicago to LA, our network stands with you in solidarity. To immigrant communities everywhere, you are not alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I want to make sure everyone here, if you're getting inspired, if you're trying to wonder what to do, what's next, make sure to connect with one of the Immigrant Defense Network's individuals. We have vest, bright yellow. You can't miss us. Sign up. Get training. Connect with neighbors. Show up to events. Follow us. Go to our website. Sign up for the next event. That's what we can do together. Up next we have Simon Troutman, a law firm that directly focuses on immigrant businesses, and I want him to share a few words here in St. Paul.
My name is Simon Troutman Cordova, and I have the privilege every day of representing immigrant business owners here in St. Paul. We're so proud to be a part of St. Paul, and I have a message here. First, I want to say thank you for everybody who came up at 9 a.m. Thank you. But my invitation is for everybody here that's going to see this tonight sitting at home, and I want you to do a quick little Google and find a conservative research project and look and see who is dangerous in America. Immigrants are not dangerous in America, and you will find that immigrants are 78% less likely to commit crimes. And undocumented immigrants are half as likely as American citizens to commit crimes. So when you see federal troops storming our cities, they are not keeping us safe. So when you see that and you learn that, know that everybody here, we're not standing against the rule of law. We are here to demand the rule of law. And for everybody who's wondering, sitting at home, what can you do? You can join an Immigrant Defense Network. You can talk to your neighbors. You can say that the Constitution that defends us will defend you. Because I promise you it will. It has for hundreds of years, and we're going to continue to fight for that. And we're going to fight for our safety. We're going to fight for the rule of law. We're going to fight for the Constitution, and we're not going to shackle the hands that built this country.
Thank you, thank you. Up next, we have Representative Lee Finke and Representative Athena Hollins.
I'm just going to stand here and look pretty.
Someone has to. Good. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lee Finke. I use she, her pronouns. I am the representative in the Minnesota House for District 66A, which is where we are standing this morning. It's fitting to be standing here in front of this beautiful mural painted by Pablo Caluca. Chakalaka. Apologies. It's part of our Chromosome mural project in St. Paul. The owners of this building welcome this project, this portrait of immigrant safety and travel, and it's a beautiful backdrop for what we're doing here today. As we know, yesterday ICE and other federal agencies raided Brotex paper and cloth, detaining a number of workers who were transported from here to Fort Snelling, and then some of whom at least were moved down to Sherburne County. Details are still scarce. We know what we do know because of the organizing efforts of those who are here with us today, and those who showed up yesterday to observe, and those who are working every single day, everywhere around the country, every second to protect and defend our immigrant neighbors in Minnesota and around the nation. Thank you all. If you are a part of that community, thank you for being here today. We are seeing this every day nationwide. Neighbors and workers are taken without warning, crammed into unmarked vans and transported to unknown places. Families are being torn apart, businesses are being destroyed, all with no consequence for the perpetrators of this cruelty. These perpetrators, by the way, are civilian employees of the federal government. They are imbued with no special powers. They're bureaucrats, just like the rest of the bureaucrats of this government. To my immigrant constituents and the families affected by this raid, I am very sorry. Know that I will always stand alongside those who are targeted because of who you are. So many of our communities are targeted simply because of who we are, by an authoritarian White House and administration that is running out of control. My community is being targeted because of who we are and nothing else. And so is yours. The tactics are different, but the goals are the same: violence and chaos and destruction and eradication. Alone, our communities are small, but together our power grows. So let us move forward with love and solidarity, words that mean nothing to the fascists behind this action, but words that can defeat them. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, and no matter why you are here, you have rights, and those rights will be protected and defended by those of us up here who have any capacity to do so. Stay safe, keep fighting, keep resisting, keep showing up. I am so grateful to be a person in this space with you, and I promise you I will do everything in my power to protect everyone in my district.
So I didn't realize I got to talk. As per usual, I'm unprepared. My name's Athena Hollins. I represent the district right next to here, 66B. And I was here yesterday, and when I rolled up, I was horrified because it looked like a war zone. People on the streets screaming, crying, clutching their injuries, trying to flush pepper spray out of their eyes. It was something that I never want to see happen in my city ever again. But what brought me hope was seeing so many of you all here together fighting against a fascist regime, against people who are not from here and don't belong here, who are willing to steal our neighbors and take them to undisclosed locations. I saw the heart of my city on the streets here yesterday, fighting for their lives and fighting as if those were their own family members who were being taken. And they are, that's right. It was a beautiful moment, but I cried the rest of the day. Because it's hard to see. It's hard to see your own city being hurt like that. But one thing that I do know, and that I want to echo, that Representative Finke said, is that every person deserves dignity, and every person gets representation. Every person in this state is represented by one of us, up here, by our senators, regardless of status. And we need to remind folks of that they are counted, they belong. I represent immigrants, I represent undocumented individuals, and they deserve exactly the same amount of representation as documented people in my district. So we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep working together. Our solidarity is strong. Our city is strong. And we're not scared. People asked me yesterday, they said, oh, you're being so brave being out there. It's not brave. We're on the right side of history. When we look back at this time 20 years from now, we're gonna know that we did what we needed to do and that we were right. So be brave if you want to, but mostly be unafraid. Because fuck those guys.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. I can't hear you. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When immigrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Thank you all. Make sure that for the 200 plus of you here this morning, to sign up for our training if you have not gotten a training. Connect with your community or organization working in your streets. Connect with the Immigrant Defense Network. Follow us. Go to the immigrantdefensenetwork.org. We have signs, we have booklets, we have materials here. So if you want to connect with this work, do it now. We're going to hold a vigil to respect and honor what happened here yesterday. And for our press folks, we will make sure that we have some availability if you have any questions. But with that, el pueblo unido. El pueblo unido. Sí se puede. 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 And when immigrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Damn right. All right. We're going to light some candles. So if you have a candle, if you want yours light, connect with someone that has a match.